Look, to be honest, it's not a series I don't want to think about at all, because it's probably the best test series I've ever played in. And I think if you ask most of the players that played in that series, whether you're English or Australian, English will say it's the best series they've ever played in, but even some of us that were on the losing end would probably say it's the best test series of cricket we've actually played in for a number of reasons. The level of cricket that was played in that series was incredible. The way some of the test matches ended up, you know, EDGBASTON being one, Manchester being another one, the Oval at the end of it having to, bad light stop play, having to, you know, that was what cost us that last game basically in the end. So, and the first test, you remember the first morning, the first test at Lords, she was on for young and old. I got hit, Justin got hit on the elbow or something, I reckon Matty Haydos got hit in the head, I reckon Cato might have got hit as well. It was just proper test match cricket, the way that we want to play, you know, the game. So it sort of started there. We obviously had a very good win at Lords. McGrath was at his brilliant best there. We went to, as you say, to Birmingham, and you know, we'd heard all week the weather had been shocking in the lead up, and cyclones had gone through the place, and the thing had, you know, the wicket had been under covers for a few days, and we also knew that our bowlers were, you know, had a real edge on the England batters after that first Test match at Lords. And so I sort of made my mind up with all that taken into account that we were going to bowl. The wicket, we expected was going to do quite a bit on the first day. When McGrath went out, I mean, it didn't do much. We bowled no balls. We got wickets off no balls. They were none for 100 or none or 1 for 120 at lunch on day one. And it's like, oh, no, this is getting away a bit here. I stand by the reasoning behind it, but when you look at the overall result and what actually happened on the first day, it's probably hard to justify. If you're a person that doesn't understand, or it's not like I just turned up and looked at it and said, oh, we're bowling. So we talked about it for a while and what we were going to do and how we thought the best way to win the game was. And we got close. I'd like to find another run somewhere through the course of that test match, but and as you know, history will tell you, it was an unbelievable game of cricket that, you know, one run decided that test match, and which probably ended up deciding the series, to be fair. You know, that was how close it probably turned out at the end.
We'll make 320, bowling out for 130, need 250 to win. Game over, 2-0, thank you.
It's just a situation that Australian cricket teams never find themselves in very often, where we're so far behind in the game that all you've got to do is to bat for 7 or 8 hours and make sure that you're not losing a game. That doesn't happen. Like even if we're chasing 500, but we still think we can get them. You know, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's just the attitude that we've always had. You know, the emotions that I went through that day at Manchester. To start with, when we got to the ground on the last day, we went down about 4 different streets to try and get into the ground, and we actually couldn't get the bus down the streets. People were packed, lined the streets everywhere trying to get into Old Trafford. The game started, and I remember watching the TV, and there was helicopter shots where you just see literally tens of thousands of people outside the ground that couldn't get in. The stadium was full. You talk about, I think, big moments in your career, and certainly as a captain in that series. You know, I basically knew if I got out early on that last day, I thought that was the Ashes gone. So I just wasn't playing for that game. As a captain, thinking if I get out here, if I make one mistake here, then this whole campaign is gone. So, talk about batting under pressure. There was a fair bit of pressure on that day, but you know, I got through all but about 12 balls or something, whatever it was that I exposed McGrath to late in the day. But that's probably the proudest moment I've had as a batsman and a captain was that innings. Sure enough, as soon as we walked into the ground at Trent Bridge this year, all the boys, oh, is this where you got run out in 2005? Yeah, it is. I talked to the referee about before the first Test match about the way that we knew that they were going to be handling their fast bowl. We've been watching it for 2 years before, and we knew what they were doing. They'd bowl a 8-over spell, they'd go off the field for a while, they'd come back in time to be ready to bowl their next spell, and that wasn't what I wasn't comfortable with, the way they were playing their cricket like that. So I let the referee know and made sure that they monitored it where they could. See, the other thing with it as well, what's different in Ashes series is certainly different than the way we used to play then. You know, they would just bring their best fielders in from anywhere around the country. It wasn't their 12th man wasn't fielding. It wasn't like the big quick that they didn't pick was out there fielding. They had the best fielder from anywhere in the country was doing all their fielding for them. And it wasn't unusual for them to have 2 or 3 guys on the field at the same time in that series. So it was getting to all of us, and then it just got to a moment where, and once again, it was a pretty big moment in the Test. You know, I reckon I was 40 odd not out. We just started to build a nice lead in the second innings of that game, and then got a direct hit run out from wherever it was, cover. Gary Pratt came into our rooms. He was obviously invited by the group because they were going to win the Ashes. He was there after the last Test at the Oval, and he came into the rooms that night, and I wanted to grab him by the throat and throw him off the balcony, but I didn't. It was all. I mean, I'll say that, obviously say that tongue in cheek. It was all, you know, part of what had happened. It was all done and dusted and over, and you know, I gave him a pair of I had my sponsor at the time had made me up some pretty cool shoes that had Aussie flags on them, and they were green and gold colours and stripes and stuff, and had my initials and stuff on the back of them. And I actually signed a pair of the shoes from that and gave them to him. So well done. So it's the last I've seen of him.